Sarah. How are
Hi,
you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm great. It's Zoe with Glitter Magazine. Thank you so much for taking the time out to chat with us.
Of course.
Congratulations on Cruel Summer. I seriously can't look away. It's just so good.
Thank you. I am such a big fan of it. I mean, it's so funny because it's really like Chiara and Olivia's show, and they're so stunning and so amazing. And I also cannot take my eyes away. So I'm happy to get to be along for the ride on this one.
Tell us about your role as Cindy Turner, mom to Jeanette, and how is she similar or not so similar to her daughter?
So Cindy Turner was a homecoming queen and popular girl, ahead of the cheerleading squad. As she puts it, is the one that had a line of people out the door asking to take me out. And I think she sort of is a little desperate to relive her glory days sort of through her daughter, who definitely, especially in 1993, is not who Cindy was in her teenage years. And so I think there is, for Cindy, a lot of her identity is tied up in how successful her family is and her children are. And I think she'd like to be a bit more successful than she
Yeah.
is in that department. So when things start to crumble, it really does a number on her.
Absolutely. And how is Cindy handling it all as things spiral out of control from the gossip and what she learns and or speculates about Jeanette in relation to Kate's disappearance?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's certainly a lot of drama in the family dynamics. I think what you begin to learn about that dynamic is that Jeanette and her dad have always been two peas in a pod. Mom has always been a little bit reactive. And so when there's certain things that Jeanette, like secrets that Jeanette and dad keep that they don't let mom into,
Yeah.
they know mom's going to freak out. And I think everybody can relate to that in
Yeah.
some way. I mean, that is a very honest, real family dynamic scenario where there is a family member there that you're like, nah, nope, we're not going to let her in on that or him in on that. That's just, it's going to be bad for everybody. So let's not.
Yep.
Um, so yeah, I mean, and I think when you have your identity that is dependent on somebody else's success, it does not set you up for a healthy, emotionally successful life,
Absolutely.
right?
Absolutely.
Which I think a lot of moms and daughters out there are going to be able to relate to this story in some way. I mean, the mother-daughter relationship is such a complicated one with so many layers.
Hmm. And the show really captures a lot of coming of age moments well, some awkward, some haunting than others. Do you think that with society changing to be more accepting, that maybe it'll influence teens to have influence teens for the better to have that less awkwardness and more empowerment?
I hope so. For
Yeah.
me, actually, the thing that I hope uh, teens will take away from this show is sort of the warning about making snap judgments. In the 90s, it was pre-social media, but you see this story. I mean, the thing that keeps this drama of the story going is that a rumor is spoken and everybody believes it, and then worlds fall apart, right? And and everyone believes it before investigating it. Like Jeanette gets punched in the face before even having a moment to speak about it, right? So there is real danger in hearing something and then deciding it's true before stopping, listening, and getting curious about it. And I think we see it, and especially teens watching the show see it on such an extreme level on social media. There's
Yeah.
so much online bullying, but you also see it in the news. You see it in the news cycles. Like,
Yeah.
I follow this fact checker named Daniel Dale, who's constantly like, and this person just said a whole bunch of garbage based on absolute no truth, like, and it's just like this happens all the time, and it leads to such destruction. So what I think that this show really does investigate is like, it's a cautionary tale, the real danger of making a snap judgment.
Absolutely. It's exposing it all. I love that.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to know what initially attracted you to Cruel Summer, and how excited were you to work with such amazing female talent like Olivia and Chiara and Jessica Biel as executive producer?
Yeah, I mean, so I was introduced to this project by the showrunner Tia Napolitano, who I love and adore and worked with for years on Grey's Anatomy. So she reached out to me and was like, "You're about to get an offer for the show. They're only sending you the pilot, and I promise you, there's a really interesting journey that Cindy takes. Talk to me. I want to tell you all about it." And so I got on the phone with her and I heard all about it, and I was like, "Done. I'm in." I'd also heard amazing things about Bill and Michelle Purple, who are our fabulous producer director team there on the ground. Also an enormous fan of The Sinner, Jessica Biel's other show with Michelle Purple. So I was like, I know we're in good hands. I've heard amazing things about the leadership. When leadership is wonderful, the experience on set is wonderful. I know that to be true. And then the delight and joy of getting on set and encountering the phenomenal talents of all of this young cast. I mean, everybody is phenomenal. But especially, I get to work with Chiara so much. She's just, and I love her so much. And because she is this like absolute powerhouse, enormous talent, but even more so, her heart is like the size of Texas. She is dedicated to not only doing a fantastic job, but also being a fantastic leader, including everyone, never wanting anyone to feel left out, always being a cheerleader for every single human, like connecting people relationally so that everybody is part of the team. She's just such a good human. So it was just a joy. It was just a joy to share the screen with her, for sure.
That's great. What were some of the challenges of working across 3 consecutive summers in the 90s simultaneously?
I mean, look, I think that the production team did an incredible job of differentiating, both in terms of different hairstyles, different energy. I mean, the acting, the performance of these two girls, but even the whole supporting cast as well. They all change in very significant and specific ways across the timeline. But then, after they put the show together, putting different color coding on each different time period so that your eyes start to just follow. Oh, now I'm in 93. Oh, now I'm 94. Oh, she's got the short hair. That's 95.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, like you start to pick it up without needing to be told. And I think that and I think there was anxiety about it on set. Like, is this going to work? Are people going to be confused? But it seems like it's like work. People are loving it and totally tracking. So.
And what was fun about having a 90s timestamp? And do you have any personal favorite 90s time? Do you have any favorite 90s trends that you still own?
Oh my gosh. Well, I was a teenager in the 90s, so I was so excited specifically about the music. Like the Cranberries come on, I'm just like, stop it. I can't even. I used to sing the Cranberries in a coffee shop with a friend, like when I was in high school. That I was so excited about that stuff. I wore the chokers for sure. When we did the premiere, they outfitted these hotel rooms that we watched the premiere from with all this 90s paraphernalia. And I'm like looking at magazine cutouts of Buffy the Vampire Slayer. And I'm like, that was my show. I know. Depressed for days when Angel went bad again. I was depressed for days.
Oh.
So yeah, there's a lot in there. And it was funny. I came home with a bunch of this stuff that they had given us for the premiere. And my daughter was dressed head to toe in a full 90s outfit that like she'd gotten, it was hand-me-downs from a friend. So she looked fully 90s. And then she was wearing a choker and she had her hair back in a scrunchie and she was sitting in the big inflatable sparkly chair. And I was
like, oh my God, that's so
you're
cute.
Just like a little tiny teenager right now from the 90s. I love it so much.
I love that so much. Oh my God, that's so cute.
Yeah. So
Were you able to help Olivia and Chiara by providing any helpful tips to them about growing up during the 1990s?
Oh, I didn't talk to them much about the 90s. I've talked to Chiara a lot about being a woman in this industry, and navigating what it is to be in a position of leadership and how to lead well, and like those kinds of things. We've
Yeah.
talked a lot about the pressures and the anxieties that come with all of this stuff. So in a way, we've developed a very, very sweet kind of relationship in that way. But I didn't really spend much time talking to them about the 90s.
Yeah, but you said you talked to them just about any like acting tips or, life tips that
Look,
you have?
I know those girls don't need any
Yeah.
acting tips from me. They're so good. But we talked about especially, like, I didn't work with Olivia very much. I adore her, but we only had one scene together. So it was, I mostly had all my screen time with Chiara. So we would talk about our different processes, and it's funny, like she enters into a specific kind of scene differently than I do in some cases, but similarly in other cases. And it's just fun to be chatting with the younger generation about this stuff. And also, like, the fact that she cares so much about being a person of integrity, not just about like grabbing the next thing, or what's this going to do for me, or how much can I get from this, but really about how do I love this community well, so that every single person across the board has a positive experience. And for someone who's 18 years old to be thinking along those lines, I'm just like blown away by the person that she is. So it was really sweet to kind of get to dive into a little bit of that stuff with her.
Awesome. And Sarah, what's next for you?
Well, I can't talk about that. I do have something that I'm working on, that involves being a bit more behind the camera, well, in front and behind, but that I'm pretty excited about, but it's not officially official, so I can't talk about
Okay.
it yet.
Well, yeah.
And then I'm developing a show as well that I'm about to start taking out. So it's, I'm living in a very creative space right now of like coming up with my own stuff and my own stories that I want to tell, while also homeschooling my children.
That's a
Still
really
distance
big
learn.
job.
We're still distance learning.
Oh, yeah.
So
Super.
it's a very full time in my life right now. And I'm really enjoying
Oh,
just the delight and excitement about Cruel Summer and about the Grey's Anatomy episode coming out. So it's fun. Yeah.
awesome. Well, I wish you luck with your projects and your kids.
Thank
And thank you
you.
so much for chatting with Glitter today. And we
Absolutely.
look forward to seeing you soon.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Have a great day.